I'm Candace.
And I'm Ripley.
And I'm John.
And this is Comicsplaining.
The show where we make like Maria Menounos and give you some trivia.
Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. Actually, literally.
We just got back from Thor Love and Thunder, and we showed up on time, despite my being unfortunately rude to a poor waitress.
You weren't rude.
And it wasn't unfortunate.
We were waiting like 20 minutes for silverware.
We were worried that we weren't going to get there in time, so I had to talk to the manager, and I feel so bad about it. But
you handled it appropriately.
So we went to the movies, and when we get there, there's always Maria Menounos on some shit like, here's some stuff you don't care about 3 times in a row before the movie.
And it's usually so bad.
And it's usually really boring.
Right, but today Maria Menounos quizzed a woman in a new movie. I forget what it was. It had a really good title, but I forget what it was.
I have no idea.
And she's like, okay, so name all these facts about movies. Like, which movie about black culture and stuff came out first, or all this different stuff. It was, like, actually engaging for once, so we decided to take a little inspiration from that.
That's not
Did
true
we now?
at all.
I don't...
It's
we
not.
planned this in advance.
We did, in fact.
Yeah, that's, we're doing it non-chronologically.
Yeah.
Our
You're not
narration
gonna-
is non-chronological.
You're not gonna let me get away with being a hopeless shill?
No, so the truth is, when I was getting ready for this episode, when I was looking ahead at this next issue of Thor, I realized it's mostly just kind of a recap issue with, like, some stuff happening around it. So it's a recap of the first issue of Thor. And since we've already read that, I didn't want to just cover it again, because that seems boring. What we decided to do is, I made up some questions, and I am going to quiz you guys and see what you can remember about Thor's origin story.
Okay.
Okay, so before we get into that, though, can either of you tell me what happened last time?
I don't remember a lot of it. I remember that the Warriors 3 were in Iraq, and then Mangog came back and was like, they were like, fight me! Fight me! Fandrel's arm was sticking out like, fight me!
Uh-huh.
And so he picked up Fandrel by the sword and, like, dunked on him, and then dunked on the rest of the Warriors 3, and dunked on Thor. He dunked on Thor before this, actually.
And then he dunked on him again.
Yeah. And then he dunked on Thor again, and then he headed to Asgard, and Loki was not giving a fuck about anything.
And it was sort of the end of Thor 1.
Yeah. But Mangog came to Asgard, and Odin woke up from his sleep and was like, I could have done this all along. Shazow! And it turned out that the billion souls inside of Mangog were not actually, like, these were not dead people. They were just, like, dead people all smushed into Mangog, because, like, they all still...
gross.
Well, they all still had bodies, is the thing.
So
like, they weren't just, like, a billion souls. They
weren't physically smushed inside of Mangog.
Yes, they were.
Okay.
They had to have
Okay,
been.
but how can you... Were they just sitting there as alien conqueror shells waiting for Mangog to unleash them back into their bodies? They were smushed into Mangog.
That's possible, but it's also entirely possible that Odin just made them new bodies.
Nah.
Fair.
I'm going with no on that one.
I'll concede. I'll concede the point. But, so, that was all fine, and then Odin was fine, and everything was fine.
And Odin saved the day at the last minute.
Yep, you just summed up 2 issues of Thor in, like, 3 minutes. Which tells you exactly how impactful it was.
Yeah, I kind of remember why I don't like that story. Odin saved the day at the last minute, and nothing that had happened up to that point mattered.
Yep.
You're just a hater of my favorite sexy beast in Marvel, Mangog.
With his unknowable hands.
And feet. His hands and feet are the same shape.
I love him beyond his feet and hands,
and his butthole tail.
And he is more than that.
Yes, he also has a very ugly face.
I love his ugly face.
And Mangog is the enemy of all who live!
Wait, do you think he's strongest there is?
No.
Mangog? No.
Hulk is strongest there
Hulk is strongest there is.
Obviously. But that is the last episode of Thor, to my recollection.
Yup, you summed that up very succinctly. With that in mind, let's go ahead and get started. Thor number 158 from September of 1968. We're getting very close to the next year.
Nice.
Nice.
Unfortunately, we're going to hit episode 69 before we reach 1969 with Thor. Which is very sad. I would have liked to have gotten there.
Maybe
but
we can just put like 0.5s in between until
We
we
can
get
slow
there.
it
decimal
down.
points.
Find some extra content.
So, this issue was written by Stan Lee, penciled by Jack Kirby, inked by Vince Colletta, and lettered by Sam Rosen.
Alright. See, if we did the trivia starting from here, I would have been wrong because I would have guessed Artie Simek.
At last, the time has come for the son of Odin to return to the fateful planet Earth.
Hooray!
Now that the threat has passed, Thor flies back to New York City, there to resume the life and practice of Dr. Donald Blake.
Extremely wall-eyed.
He notes that in his absence, all of his patients have started seeing other doctors.
No shit, I'm glad we're finally acknowledging this.
And it will take him some time to build up his practice again.
You earned it, buddy.
Until then, he is free to indulge in something that he rarely has the opportunity to do. Relax and consider his situation and how he got here.
Kick his feet up in the recliner and sit there and ponder.
He asks the important questions. If he is Thor, then who is Donald Blake? If he is Donald Blake, then where was Thor before he took up that mantle?
Excellent questions.
Keen readers by this point have been wondering this for years.
Indeed.
I know I was when I read it.
Well, we have been going for more than a year, so yes.
Yeah. Don thinks back to the day he found his cane, a day which is forever etched in his mind as the day that everything changed.
It's funny to me that he's thinking of this like when I found my cane instead of when I found Thor's hammer. It's like, this is when I got my excellent cane.
Yeah, it's a really good cane.
It's
just
a
a
really
cane.
good cane.
Oh, that's all it is. That's it.
So, my first question is a bit of a softball.
Okay.
I was gonna say, whoever knows it, just call it out, but I feel like that's gonna be unbalanced and John won't participate.
Okay.
Dang it.
So we gotta trade off.
Trade off. Okay, John, I'll give you the first question. It's easy. In which country was Don vacationing when he found Mjolnir originally?
Sweden?
Ripley?
Norway.
It was Norway.
Is the Norse god.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a
they're
given.
all Norse countries.
Indeed, Don
Fair.
was on vacation in Norway when although it's mentioned that he's, like, vacationing in Europe, so I guess he's just kind of, like, traveling across Europe, but he was stopping in Norway at this point.
You know, fair.
Right. He was in Norway when he overheard an old man ranting about seeing aliens outside of town. He decided to check it out, because tourism, I guess.
So, how long ago was this in real life?
63, I think.
I think so.
So, this is like,
5 years ago.
yeah, this is
This
5
is-
years of actual publication history.
This is also the dawn of the Silver Age.
Mhm.
The Don.
Ah, the dawn of the Silver Age. We pronounce those things differently here in the Midwest. Dawn and dawn.
Mhm.
Okay, Ripley, question number 2.
Yeah.
When Don entered the cave where Mjolnir was interred, he was fleeing invaders from which planet?
I don't know what planet, but the Cronins, right? Or the Krogans?
But what planet are they from?
Saturn?
Yes.
Okay.
The men from Saturn are actually Cronins.
Yes.
The rock people, such as Korg in the film that we just saw.
That's a funny thing about that.
They are super strong and resilient and have advanced weaponry, which they planned to use to take over the Earth.
Because of course.
And they were going to do a really good job of it, too.
Oh yeah, super good. After trekking up the mountains, Don actually managed to find the aliens, but accidentally alerted them by stepping on a twig. He then fled before falling down a cliff and losing his cane, then running into a cave.
That's why he remembers it, because he lost his other cane. It's like, my new cane!
Right. This proved to be a mistake when he found that the other end of the cave was blocked by a huge boulder. Oops.
Could have been worse. Could have been a bear.
He sat against it to sulk, only for the wall to suddenly swing open, for reasons
As
unknown.
caves do.
As caves do. In the chamber beyond, he found a gnarled old stick, which he tried to use as leverage on the boulder, before growing frustrated and hitting it against the cave wall,
Me.
which transformed him instantly into the mighty Thor.
Ah!
With the power of Thor at his command, he was able to lift the boulder and exit the cave with ease. He then spent a while getting acquainted with his new powers.
Okay, consider if he hadn't done that. How long he could have just had this stick.
So for the next question, I'm going to let you guys cooperate because it's a long one.
Okay.
What were the powers that were introduced in issue 1 of Thor?
Oh, God.
Turn into Thor.
Uh-huh.
Hit the ground and make lightning.
So the light speed thing, that's not yet.
No.
No. Hit the ground how many times to make lightning?
Oh, twice, because once is to turn into Thor, twice is to make lightning, 3 times is to stop lightning?
Yeah.
Okay. Those are the powers I have. I'm guessing flying by Mjolnir. Did he do that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
How does he fly, though?
By hammer.
Does he have
How?
to swing the hammer around?
Yes. He swings the hammer and, well, just keep going.
Oh, there's more powers than that?
Yes.
God damn it.
Super strength.
Obviously. That was so obvious I didn't even put it on my list.
Weather control.
We already covered that.
Well, I feel like weather control and lightning control are 2 different things.
No, it's the same thing.
I don't have any other powers.
I've run out of powers like 5 hours ago.
Well, you forgot his most important power,
Oh, no.
which is when he throws Mjolnir, it comes back to him.
That's...
And also, it destroys whatever he throws it at.
Yeah.
Those
Okay.
aren't powers!
They are powers! What would you fucking call them then?
I think hitting anything you hit at as a power, and I guess I kind of thought that having the hammer was kind of with the hammer coming back. That's fair. Okay.
I mean, but it really says that on it. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Whosoever holds this hammer, if he be worthy, shall possess the power of
imagine if the
Thor.
movies had done it that way.
I would
Yeah.
like that, but also imagine, like, all the paparazzis zooming in on, like, Thor's hammer to figure out what it says.
That's funny.
Oh yeah, the hammer was longer.
Yeah, the handle was a lot longer and the head was a lot smaller.
Whoa!
Oh yeah, the art there's not great.
Oh, the power of Thor!
Perspective!
Thor found that if he set the hammer down for 60 seconds, he would revert back to Donald Blake.
Yes.
Conversely, if Don picked the hammer back up, he would instantly transform into Thor.
But only if he picked it up for 60 seconds.
You know, he has the exact same face.
Well, yeah.
Wild.
Funny how that works.
According to legend, Thor's hammer could only be lifted by Thor himself. When he threw it, it would always return to him, and it would always destroy whatever it struck. When he tapped the handle twice on the ground, he could summon weather, which could be stopped with 3 more taps.
He really did just dick around with the thing.
Yep. By swinging the hammer and holding onto the strap, he could fling himself off of the ground and fly.
Eat himself off this mortal coil.
Yep. After figuring out his new power set, Thor took off to fight the Cronins, who were fucking with,
NATO?
NATO, yeah,
it is
they were
NATO.
fucking with NATO.
It is NATO. It's unclear at this point, but it is NATO.
Well, I mean, it says a NATO base, so...
He battered the stone men, destroying the cage they dropped on him, and knocked away all of their weapons.
Right, the cage, I forgot about the cage.
There's a cage.
There's a cage.
Despite all his rage. Despite all his rage, he is still just a god in a cage.
So, last question.
At who?
At John, I don't think that they're gonna get it.
Okay.
Rude!
What was the Cronin's last line of attack against Thor?
I have no idea!
Ripley?
Nope. Nothing.
Well, of course, it is the Mechano Monster!
Oh, God.
Oh my god!
I still don't remember the Mechano Monster, and he's right in front of me.
It happened!
The Mechano Monster, which was kind of just a robot, got turned into scrap with just 1 blow from Mighty Mjolnir.
That would be why I don't remember this.
Upon seeing this, the Cronins declared that Earth was more trouble than it was worth, and fled off back to Saturn to write a bad Yelp review for Space Kentucky.
I also like this version of Mjolnir.
Yeah, I like this editor's note. This is really kind of cutely done.
Thor then turned back into Donald Blake and quietly returned to his vacation, leaving a bunch of NATO dudes who were totally there before, stunned as to what just happened. We return now to the present, where Don considers just how much that fateful day changed everything in his life. He recalls the first time he saw Heimdall, the first time he saw Asgard, even the first time he saw Odin.
Oh god, that hat!
He's got a bunch of them. I don't like the brown gloves with the silver armor. Yeah. I don't think it's a good look.
It's one brown glove.
Oh god, he's Michael Jacksoning this shit.
I can't tell if this is a fur cape because it seems to be coming out of his neck.
I think it's still a fur cape. It's just like a one-shoulder cape that he shrugged off.
Yeah.
One-shoulder fur cape. That's going to be the look for fall of 2022.
Don recalls his battles against Carnilla, Loki, and Hercules. The friends he made in Baldur and the Warriors 3.
And Hercules.
And Hercules.
Especially Hercules.
And he remembers Jane, the first girl he loved, but not the one in his heart these days. It seems not only Thor, but also Don is now burning a candle for the warrior goddess Sif.
Right, until the next time you see Jane, in which time you will wax poetic.
Yep.
But how can I think of love when I'm still not certain of my own identity? Is Dr. Blake merely a myth? A casual creation of all-wise Odin? Was my finding the enchanted hammer just part of some pre-arranged Asgardian plan? Or am I what I seem to be? A normal, average human, a star-kissed Earthman who had accidentally stumbled upon the greatest discovery of all time? But if that's the answer, then what happened to the original son of Odin? Why was his hammer left abandoned in that cave? I've got to know! I've got to know!
Jesus.
He's never really cared about this up until this point, but, I would like to know the answers, so sure.
Next, the answer!
Well, very convenient.
Wait no longer.
Excellent. I wanted to wait no more, and here I am, waiting nary a second longer.
Who is this?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
He's just a big old giant. I don't know who he is. He doesn't matter.
He's a giant that Thor is fighting.
He's kind of bald.
A little bit.
A lot of bit. He's got the male pattern baldness, something fierce.
So we're looking at Thor number 159 from October of 1968.
Approved by the Comics Code Authority.
Written by Stan Lee, penciled by Jack Kirby, inked by Vince Colletta, and lettered by Sam Rosen.
The answer at last!
Ha!
Some time has passed since our last issue, and it seems Don has returned to work, performing surgery at a nearby hospital.
Since he doesn't have a private practice anymore because he abandoned all his patients.
But apparently everyone wants him to work there.
If you don't recall, he is a very good surgeon.
Mm-hmm.
However, his mind is no less troubled, as he still reels with confusion and doubt. Another doctor approaches him after surgery with concern. He looks tired, and it takes a lot out of you to perform delicate surgery after a long vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Blake has to admit that he is tired, though not for the reason his colleague thinks. He retires to the on-call room and lays in one of the beds, his mind whirling with questions to which he has no answers. Rest will not come to him until he knows the truth.
This is something I would have actually enjoyed more than the private practice thing, seeing Don Blake living in a hospital like you do.
Actually having coworkers?
Mm-hmm.
Having to find reasons to duck out. Again, keep in mind I am a Spider-Man fan, so this absolutely ties in with things I like.
That's
but
fair.
That is something I would have liked to see, rather than Don just ducking out on his practice for like a fucking month and it being fine. I would like to see his coworkers maybe a bit tiffed with him about that.
Well, with a private practice, he can just walk away.
Yeah, I mean, he shouldn't. The Yelp reviews will be absolutely wretched.
Yes, the Yelp reviews from 68 will be terrible.
Yeah, you know.
Sliding time scale, Yelp is here.
Oh, no.
Dr. Blake lays back, clears his mind, and allows himself to slip into the memories of his other half.
That's a thing?
Okay, so things get a little confusing here.
Okay.
The narration implies that we're looking at Thor's memories, but then it seems that he's actually in Asgard at this moment while Don is asleep on Earth.
So he's astral projecting.
He's astral projecting as Thor,
Or
apparently.
one could say that Donald Blake awoke his sleeping self, his dream self, as it were.
I wouldn't say that.
Himdall!
Thor arrives at the other end of the Bifrost, somehow, and is greeted by Heimdall before proceeding into the city. Everyone he passes cries out salutations to their protector and prince as he continues into the palace and towards his ultimate destination.
Do you think Odin makes everyone call out to his special boy?
No, I think everyone just likes Thor.
I think that's fair.
Thor is a very likable person.
He is. I love him.
There is only one person, after all, who can tell him what he needs to know. Odin is wearing an outfit.
Odie doty.
Oh my god.
The magenta was a choice.
And those gloves.
The matching gloves and knee pads.
The unmatching hat and shoulder pads.
You know, there's a reason I can believe he's a single dad.
He can't
Nobody-
dress himself.
Nobody wants to show up with this bitch on their arm.
Exactly.
Thor begs a most urgent audience, which Odin grants, but it seems that he already knows what his son wants to ask. "'Tis knowledge
Yeah.
Thor doth crave, and 'tis knowledge thou shalt have!" Dr. Blake sits bolt upright, once again in his own body on Earth. But something is different. He's no longer alone here. Odin's hand appears.
Magenta fist.
Not the rest of him, though.
Uh-huh.
He begins to tell Dawn a story of a time long past, in the realm of Niflheim, where dwell the storm giants. A long time ago, it seems, Odin signed a peace treaty with the denizens of Niflheim, proclaiming that no Asgardian will set foot on their land. This is quite a thing for him to agree to, which makes me wonder what he got in return, but we don't get to find that out. The simple fact of the matter is, according to this pact, no one from Asgard was supposed to go to Niflheim. Well, wouldn't you know it, young Thor was the one to break the rule.
Of course he was.
Okay, so this is reeking of Thor 1.
You mean Thor 1 reeks of this.
Yes.
No, the Thor 1 is the origin story for this comic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Sliding timescale.
Thor, barely past the age of adulthood, so like 18 or 19, he was chasing something he calls a bird beast, but that looks very much like a dragon.
Maybe it's that bitch from Star Wars Episode 3 that...
The what now?
What now?
You know, the lizard bird thing. The...
I don't know.
Oh, no.
Obi-Wan rides it.
Oh,
What? The lizard bird thing, and he
Oh.
chases General Grievous.
No, that thing didn't have wings.
Well, no, but
There's
it was...
a fly on my
It
mic.
was very birdy.
The bird beast flew into Niflheim, and though he knew it was forbidden territory, Thor refused to give up his hunt so easily. Hammer in hand, he pursued the beast across the border and struck it down with a mighty blow. A storm giant appeared, demanding to know who had broken the truce and why. Thor explained that he was the son of Odin and had done them a favor by slaying yon vile beast.
How do you know that wasn't just, like, his pet?
Right?
This giant didn't seem very appreciative, though, because it was his pet, and for breaking the truce, he sentenced Thor to death without trial. The giant lashed out with his huge axe, tearing apart the cliffside where the thunder god stood.
I dare say I don't think Border Patrol should be allowed to do that.
I mean, he broke a truce, therefore it's war, therefore it's not sentenced to death, war's back on.
Thor nimbly dodged while declaring that none shall attack a prince of the realm without feeling the power of enchanted Mjolnir.
Kind of feeling why Odin would send this bitch away for a bit.
Yeah.
Young Thor struck the giant down with a single blow, but his friends were close enough to see this all go down, and they were not happy.
And they all go Thoom.
They do.
Thoom, thoom, thoom.
That's their giant steps hitting the ground.
Boom, 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 boom.
They all rushed to avenge their fallen brother while Thor... Shut up! They all rushed to avenge their fallen brother while Thor stood his ground, prepared to take them all on by himself.
Dumb.
He gave a mighty blow to the mountain above them, sending a rock slide to bury the giants.
Rude.
Before he could claim victory, however, he came under fire by some more giants, at range, shooting fireballs.
Good job.
Fair.
While hiding behind a rock, Thor was hailed suddenly by Balder. Thor invited Balder to join him in fighting the giants, and Balder was like, "Nah, bro, you know I wish I could, but you're super breaking the law right now, and those dudes are just defending their land, so you need to get on this horse and get the fuck out."
You're across the line. Come back on this side of the line.
And Thor was like, "Damn, dude, you right." So Thor climbed onto the horse and spun his hammer to deflect incoming missiles as the two sped away, though Balder was quick to point out that Mjolnir would not save him from Odin's wrath.
Older brother like, okay, middle brother, you may have a point.
It's time to interrupt this story as Don Blake, played by Fred Savage, has to ask a question. That was a Princess Bride joke.
Yeah, I haven't finished watching Princess Bride.
What?
I watched half of it, and then I watched half of it with you, and then I had to leave.
Oh my god. We have to watch that.
I didn't even gather that was a Princess Bride reference because I haven't seen it in like a billion years.
I just saw that fucking Homestuck movie when you said Fred Savage, so...
Wow. Okay, well, Don has to ask a question. Yeah, Thor was young and stupid and headstrong. But what's that got to do with me, huh, Odin? Odin gives a complete non-answer, prompting Blake to reiterate his main questions.
On brand.
How did Don get involved in this? Where was Thor before he found Mjolnir in that cave? And for that matter, was there another Thor separate from Don at some point?
Who is this man arm wrestling? Many questions, many answers to come ahead.
We're getting there. Only Odin can help him because he doesn't have any memory of any of this. Odin materializes more fully and says, but this was my plan. I didn't want you to know these things before, but now I do because I feel like it.
All according to Keikaku.
Now shut up and listen to my story.
Keikaku means plan.
Odin explains that in his youth, Thor would constantly make show of his strength for no reason other than glamour.
What good is all the fame if you ain't fucking the models? What good is all the strength if you're not showing it off?
Oh, that's a take.
Okay.
We see young Thor once again, this time in the middle of a bar full of drunken, rowdy Asgardians, arm wrestling some dude named Gondalf.
Gondalf.
Gandalf?
With 2 F's.
Gandalf?
No, Gondalf.
Gundalf.
No, Gondalf.
Look at those guns.
Fandral and Hogan are cheering him on.
See? Look at his guns.
While jeering his opponent, as any good bros would do. According to the text from the crowd, Thor has already beaten 40 guys and is showing no signs of stopping.
Oh, good for him.
Wow, Thor.
But Gondalf has been practicing for just such an occasion, and he's not going down without a fight.
What is he gonna do?
Here.
Cheat?
No, he's just been pumping iron, man. Nearby, Volstagg is getting himself a drink while saying that if he were to join the contest, both Thor and Gondalf would be defeated easily.
I want to see that.
Some dude invites him to join anytime, and Volstagg declines, with a hearty bow that seems to accidentally booty bump the crowd and the table to pieces.
Pop locking and dropping it like a fucking pro.
And now we will never know who would win.
Yup. Gondalf threatens Volstagg, and Thor quickly leaps to his defense. For all his flaws, Volstagg is Thor's friend, and he won't sit idly by and let anyone talk to his friends that way.
Yeah, but you ruined the arm wrestling match, bro.
Arm wrestling is no longer on the table, as they all draw weapons to settle this dispute. Volstagg retreats to the cellar, because he didn't ask for any of this shit.
You started it, bro. You gotta know the strength of your booty.
Thor, Hogan, and Fandral take on the entire rest of the bar, and are winning pretty handily, much to the dismay of their opponents. However, the fracas is cut short by a bellowing voice.
I say thee now!
Odin shows Blake a memory of young Thor attending to his father's summons atop a high mountain. It is here that Odin declares, despite all his strength and honor and glory, Thor is lacking in one key quality: humility.
This seems a little bit capricious.
Odin wants him to learn this through weakness and pain, but knows that Thor isn't susceptible to these things, as is, so he conjures up an image of Earth, which Thor apparently doesn't recognize for some reason.
Impressive.
He hasn't been doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Oh, Gore's gonna get you.
Been busy arm wrestling.
Stop being a bad god.
The All-Father says that Thor will now live on Earth among the mortals to learn humility.
Odin's hat is very lopsided.
It's huge.
On one side.
No, it's just angled.
That's perspective.
It's very badly done.
Yes. That's why he doesn't have a wife.
He doesn't have a wife because Jack drew the perspective weird?
Yeah.
Wild.
Oh, no, because that's the kind of hat he wears.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Again, can't show up anywhere with this bitch on your arm.
Exactly!
Odin then blasts Thor with a beam of Take Your Powers. He takes away Thor's godly strength and his ability, strips him of Mjolnir, and even erases his memory of this very event before shooting him down to Earth.
He hit Thor with a beam of fuck you.
Yeah. Donald Blake appears on the campus of the State College of Medicine. Don't know what that is.
That may have been a thing at the time, I don't know.
Maybe. And he heads to the registrar's office. Apparently, Odad didn't bother to plant fake memories or anything, but due to his enchantments, Blake never questioned why he didn't have a past.
That's kind of impressive.
Okay.
Though this does bring into question how he got into medical school at all, much less paid for it.
How did he get...
It's very handy that Odin took care of that.
How did he get through college with no past?
Right? Apparently, even his bad leg was a fabrication designed by Odin to teach him a lesson, which is kind of yikes.
Yeah, that's kind of shitty.
Mean.
Don went on to study and become a surgeon, selflessly treating the sick and injured. Odin hid Mjolnir away in the cave for him to eventually find and reclaim once he had learned his lesson.
You know, just in case he happened to wander by this fucking cave in Norway.
Yeah.
A place he doesn't normally spend time in.
According to Don, this now explains why he couldn't marry Jane and why he couldn't denounce his godhood, because he was actually Thor the whole time. I'm not sure this follows, since he never actually tried doing that.
This doesn't make sense also considering that he's not usually a beefcake, and then he becomes a fucking beefcake.
And the whole thing with Jane was just a stupid rule that Odin made up, but Stan is really trying hard to connect the dots, so whatever.
It's that meme.
I've connected the dots.
You haven't connected shit.
I've connected them. So, that's the truth of the whole chicken and the egg thing. Thor came first, then got turned into Don as a punishment, then gained the ability to turn back into Thor when he found his hammer.
So is this, are we writing Donald Blake out of the story?
No.
Thank God.
No, Don still exists. This is not a way to get rid of Don.
Because it could be.
It's just an explanation because the Thor-Don thing doesn't make any fucking sense.
No,
Because they haven't explained anything up to this point and we just kind of forgot.
You know what? These days, this would be how they would write Donald Blake out. Because then he'd have to make a choice to choose a life or some such.
No, Stan didn't do that.
It was a different time.
Yep.
They don't usually tell this kind of story. I haven't read anything like this, at least. In the
This
last,
shit just happens from time to time.
I don't know, 15 years?
I mean, honestly, I see this as, like, Stan created the character without really thinking about it, and then the fans bugged him enough that he did this
Well, yeah.
as an answer to that. That's the way I see it, anyway.
I mean, when you create a character with no backstory, it's gonna bug people.
This is kind of what I think about it. When Stan created the X-Men, part of the whole thing was that he didn't have to think up a bunch of origin stories, like you said. And then, but the thing is he did that for everyone, so then he had to kind of half-dash something.
Uh-huh. What about jeans?
I don't know. We don't know. You don't know.
It's what we were promised.
Jean emerged fully formed in the middle of upstate New York.
The Phoenix did it.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, that's about as valid as anything else I've heard about Jean
I shall
Grey.
say nothing about anything. I know nothing. I know nothing. I don't know anything!
I don't believe you.
So, how did you feel about Thor's origin story?
Meh. I kind of feel like he should have plopped him onto Earth as a baby. I know that doesn't make sense with the whole it's just Thor, but, like, I think that Don should have a backstory. I think Don should have lived Don's life instead of just emerging into the middle of this college.
Yeah, I think that kind of sucks for Don.
Yeah.
Finding out he's not a real person.
That's a great life.
He doesn't have a family, he doesn't have anything, he's just
kind of there.
Plopped down because Dad was mad.
So, obviously, Dan tried to show that Thor was really
I don't think he did anything to deserve that. He got in an arm wrestling
really
match.
that bad. Like, he tried to show Thor being hot-headed, and he tried to show that Thor was arrogant and everything. But he also didn't want to go, like, the whole mile, because he still didn't want to show Thor in, like, a negative light.
He wants him to be likable.
Yeah, so he didn't come off all that bad, and then Odin just punished him for doing regular teenager things.
Right.
Which he would have grown out of if he had just waited.
That really
yeah, but
seems
Odin's a
over
terrible
the top.
father.
That's true.
Odin has consistently been a very bad father who just changes his mind at the flip of a coin. And
Right, you say he should have put Don on the Earth as a baby, but I don't think he could have waited that long for Don to find the fucking hammer again.
Well, because he probably changed his mind 3 times before Donald Blake got out of college.
Fair enough.
I think he would change his mind 3 times within the next year.
True.
Change your major!
Oh God, Don's talking to his father on the phone, who's telling him to change his major.
I love this take. I want to go with this.
Oh my god. Oh no, I was about to say something with spoilers because Ripley hasn't watched Moon Knight yet.
Oh.
Well, I was traveling to, I'm sorry you can't come for the home for the holidays, son. I was traveling to, Australia. Guess you're just gonna have to keep going with that. I've been traveling the world for many years now, son. I'll see you again someday.
He's just a very busy businessman.
Mm-hmm.
A very important guy.
And he keeps
All he's got time for is a Zoom chat. And he's got his Earthman disguise on.
And he's very demanding, because his son must be the best.
That's why Don is very understanding of whenever Odin's like, "Ah, come here, I have a problem." Don's like, okay. This is just how Dad is. I understand this.
This is what dads are. This is normal dad things. Normal dads. I get why these exist, because
There's been nothing. You have to have an answer for something.
Yeah.
We can't lost this along forever.
Lost couldn't lost it along forever.
So here's the fun thing.
Okay.
This doesn't even fully explain everything.
Alright.
There's gonna be more later.
There are retcons yet to come.
Oh yes.
How many?
Many.
Well, you probably don't remember. You probably forgot again because he appeared for like one panel. But the doctor in the hospital where Jane works
I remember
now,
him.
Dr. Keith Kincaid.
Yeah, I
who
didn't
looks
remember
an
his
awful
name.
lot like Don.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, I don't like that.
Just give you a little taste of what's to come.
I don't like that at all.
This is going bad places.
So anyway, that's all I have for today.
It's kind of hard to rate these, because they're
yeah,
not...
it's like barely a story.
Yeah, I mean, the first one was mostly just a recap of the
Yeah.
first issue, so...
Okay, so issue number 2, 2?
Yeah.
2 question mark out of 5?
Yeah, it's a story that exists because this wasn't
Planned.
created with he didn't have an origin story. He just found a stick and became Thor. What more do children need these days? What do you mean they need backstory?
The stick! The stick!
Oh yeah, and Ripley won the quiz show.
Yay!
What did Ripley win?
Fuck all.
$5.
You have
Yes.
$5?
No.
No, I know. Like I said, fuck all.
Yeah, this wasn't something created with a backstory, and I guess Stan had to create one. People were bugging him.
What's your grading?
I'll go with 2. It's a story of convenience.
Eh,
I agree.
it's meh.
Yeah.
It's not a good story, but I think
I'm glad we addressed it.
I am glad we addressed it. Okay, let's talk about the movie now.
Oh, yeah.
Spoilers for Thor Love and Thunder.
Obviously.
They totally destroyed and butchered Gore, the God Butcher,
Ironically,
the storyline.
they butchered the God Butcher.
Yes.
For once, I am the one person who knows nothing about this. I am the clean slate.
And it's for the best they butchered the God Butcher.
Well, here's the thing. Even though John and I know how much they changed, all 3 of us liked it.
Yeah.
It was a very speedy movie.
It was very fast, which makes sense because they basically shoved almost a decade worth of Thor comics into one movie.
Neat trick.
Yeah.
For the better in some parts,
Yeah.
I think. The thing with Jane, again, this is from what I understand of these comics that I haven't read, but this thing with Jane being less protracted makes the idea of the thought that being Thor harms her during her cancer treatment much more understandable rather than drawing it out, which doesn't make quite as much sense. It doesn't make it seem as quite as dire a thought.
Oh,
Right.
It's worse in the comics.
It's much worse.
See, here's the thing. Asgardia, where the Norse gods live at that point, they have magics that could cure her.
She chooses not to use them.
Why?
Because she believes in science or whatever.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What happened to the... I don't know.
It's just a stupid loophole so that Jason can make her suffer and die.
Anyone can fucking go to the immediate, I think it's Heinlein handoff of, or is it Asimov? I'm not sure. It's one of these guys.
Hylian or Asimov?
Heinlein or Asimov, yeah. Any sufficiently advanced science is indistinguishable from magic. So, like, and she's even said as much in these movies. I mean, that's not the comics, but, like, that seems like a pretty understandable belief for a scientist to fucking have.
And by that point in the comics, she's become a doctor of medicine.
Yeah.
And so she's just like, nah.
I'm going to take a human medicine in Asgardia and sometimes use the hammer, which takes the chemo out of me. And
yeah, so she's like, I'm gonna rely on the chemo to do this, but I'm also going to keep using Mjolnir even though it flushes the chemo out of my system, so there's literally no point to any of this.
So why am I doing chemo?
Okay, so this seems even stupider than I was assuming.
It was,
but
it
yeah.
was a
was
weird
pretty
long...
dumb.
It was a long plot, relatively speaking.
And then she ends up dying, but then Thor brings her back to life by shoving tons of electricity inside of her, because that's how anything works.
I haven't actually read that, but
Oh, there's God shit, I'll accept it.
Well,
that's how Frankenstein's monster works. That's not how humans work.
it's...
Sure it is.
Well, it's more of that writers not understanding how defibrillators work.
yeah.
Because defibrillators are not magic make-you-alive machines.
What?
They will kickstart your heart if you have a fucking heart attack, but that's about it. And it doesn't matter how much electricity you're pumping into, like, a human body, you're just gonna end up burning it to a crisp.
Yes, you are going...
Try adrenaline, try CPR.
No,
Right.
no. We are going to
Something.
cook Jane Foster.
Yeah, to bring her back to life. And then, like, and then what? She's still got cancer, even if you resuscitate her.
Okay, but we are getting very hung up on comics when there's a
I'm
movie
sorry.
to talk
We
about.
kind of have to, because...
That was my fault.
This
my
one-
B.
Because, okay, Ragnarok might have been kind of a riff on...
Planet Hulk.
Yeah, Planet Hulk, but it was a vague riff on Planet Hulk. This is not vague. This was publicly adding
It was a
two
direct
storylines.
It was a direct adaptation, which a lot of the movies haven't been.
Yeah, more direct than most.
I liked it a lot. I liked it more than the comics that it adapted, which is not saying much because I don't think very highly of the God Butcher story. I thought even Gore was better in the movie
They
than he is in the fucking
completely
comics.
changed his ending.
I liked Gore.
They changed his ending and they also changed his origin.
Did they?
Yeah,
I mean, what's...
they added to it.
I mean, they did change bits about
I mean,
it. He had a
that-
conversation with one of the gods.
the essence is the same,
Yeah, because,
but
you
it's
know,
different.
guy finds a god knife, starts killing.
Hmm.
That was roughly... And, you know, kid dies.
Yeah, they transed his kid's gender.
Did they?
It was a boy in the comics.
Okay!
I'm not sure why they did that,
I feel
but
like they're-
it's fine.
They're definitely doing something with that, but that's for future. That's for,
Yeah,
that's for later.
It's weird how many of the Marvel characters are now becoming parents, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. Like, I'm of two minds about it. Like, on one hand, it feels like we're really dipping back into being weirdly traditionalistic, and I don't enjoy that. But on the other hand, I like seeing the passage of time.
So, the kid
Yeah.
from the end, and the fact that they made her a girl actually reminds me of a character that comes later in the Thor comics,
Mm.
Okay?
which is Thor Girl.
Okay?
Okay.
And we're gonna get to her, but, like, crib notes on Thor Girl, because you guys are gonna forget this in a week anyway.
Yep.
Fair.
Thor Girl, she was an alien,
Okay.
who had, like, cosmic powers.
Mm.
Run into her before.
And Thor had to protect her from Thanos. And because Thor saved her, she took a lot of inspiration from him and turned herself into Thor Girl, even though she had cosmic power and was supposed to, like, remake the universe or what the fuck ever.
Gotcha.
This girl in the movie reminds me of her in the way that she seems to have cosmic powers because she was created by eternity.
Yeah, she had that funky reflection in the beginning.
And eye lasers and stuff. And then she takes inspiration from Thor, her hero.
Okay.
So that's what that reminds me of. I'm not sure. I can't say for sure if that's where they're going with it, but that's what it seems
It
like.
also seemed like Thor didn't realize eye lasers aren't normal.
I mean, fair.
He says Guardian. They might be normal.
Remember Team Thor and how fucking out of touch Thor is?
Mm-hmm.
I can see that.
Thor doesn't know what's normal.
This is normal.
Also, she's an alien,
They could have eye lasers. Just because Gore didn't have eye lasers doesn't mean they don't have eye lasers.
Maybe it's just the females.
Female of the species.
Gore had a sword. Why did he need eye lasers?
Exactly.
He had the best sword ever.
I thought that the way they did it was really good. Although, I will say, I can see why people who liked the God Butcher in the comics would not like this movie.
Oh yeah, it's
okay.
Very not edgy.
It's completely different in tone and in content.
Mm-hmm. The comic suffers from 90s-itis.
Yeah, it's really dark and edgy and kind of up its own ass, frankly. And the movie didn't really take itself too seriously.
No.
The movie is, in essence, a comedy.
A romantic comedy.
A romantic comedy with some more serious elements.
And at the end is also a tragedy.
Yes.
Which is none of what the God Butcher is in the original.
And I also think John was right when they said this is the God Butcher plot if Thor had friends.
And guess what? Thor can make friends even when it's just him and a bunch of kids who have no abilities.
I've seen some complaints about... Oh, this might be me setting some fires.
As if Candace hasn't been setting fires hating on Jason Aaron.
No, because this is things I've actively seen on my dashboard.
Okay. Tell me.
I've seen some complaints about Jane dying from the cancer, and it just really stinks to me of people who don't know comics and don't understand how comics work. And that's how most complaints I see of these movies are. I mean, they're the hipster up their own ass people who are like, I think Martin Scorsese's take is the only thing we should watch is autistic movies, and popcorn has no place in our society, no artistic merit. You are all plunging into the downfall of society.
You are peeking that mic so much.
That's why I'm leaning back as hard as I am.
It's not working.
You know, people like that have been saying video games aren't art for decades, and
I know. That's not even where I was going with that. I got distracted from that, but it really just stinks to me of people who criticize comic book movies not understanding that they are meant to be adaptations of comic books, which are just like this. And her dying isn't necessarily some anti-feminist slight or something. Her dying in comics is an adaptation of a comic book fucking storyline, and comic book characters die all the time and come back to life. We're not even necessarily ruling this out that Jane may just come back to life, and we're setting up for that.
At this point, if anything, they've ruled in the possibility that Heimdall will be coming back too.
So here's the thing about Jane in the comics. After she died and stopped being Thor, she became a Valkyrie.
Yeah.
And at the end of this film, we saw her appearing in Valhalla.
Mm-hmm.
So it's entirely possible that she's going to come back as a Valkyrie.
Right.
So don't count your chickens thinking Jane's dead forever.
Don't count your chickens before they hatch.
Yes.
Yeah. Here I am. I hope that doesn't start fucking shit, because I don't think we have enough listeners for me to start shit.
People are also saying that this movie isn't gay, and apparently they don't have fucking eyes.
Korg got fucking gay married.
Korg got gay married. They explicitly said that Valkyrie had a girlfriend.
I'm also not
sure.
And
there was some pretty gay shit with Valkyrie and Jane to begin with.
Oh yeah.
Valkyrie was just being gay kind of all over the place.
But y'all were queer-baited, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Valkyrie flirting with the girls on Zeus's,
Like, I'm sorry, were you legit? Yeah, and Zeus also had pretty girls and pretty boys on his pedestal.
I want to see that Beefcake come back, and he never did.
He never did.
Oh, but we got to see Hercules.
We did get to see Hercules.
Hercules.
Yeah, speaking of gays. That's Thor's future husband right there.
And given this is it's probably going to be another Taika movie, considering. Actually,
wait and see.
If they're gonna do it, if anyone's gonna make Thor gay, okay,
well,
bye.
It's just like, what? Like, was all of this not good enough for you? Were you legitimately expecting, like, Thor and Star-Lord to be a romantic couple? Because if you were, then you're deluding yourself.
We need to open this movie on a 10-minute long sex scene between Star-Lord and Thor, clearly.
And Drax is moving so slowly that neither of them have noticed.
Drax is the cameraman. That's why he keeps a very stable camera.
Right.
He's invisible. Remember that. He's moving so slowly that no one can notice him.
Right.
Whatever.
You know what I really loved in this movie?
Hmm?
The costuming.
They did go like Thor's helmet.
I don't know if I necessarily like. I mean, I'm of two minds again about Thor's cape.
They went ham.
Like,
with the
on
outfits,
one
though.
hand,
Thor had several different capes.
well, the one when I was talking to you, it looked very comic book-esque, but on the other hand, it looks very overstuffed.
Oh
in the
yeah,
MCU.
we were in the middle of the very emotional scene where Jane was dying and Ripley was telling me how much they didn't like Thor's cape. And I'm like, I'm watching a movie.
Well, you're gonna have to watch it again without me chattering in your ear.
Are we going
It's
to...
not ever going to happen.
So am I going to be dragged through all the Thor movies when the next one comes out?
I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, God.
But that's not going to be for a couple of years.
I
so
know.
We
it
need to
doesn't
carve
matter.
out some time to watch Loki.
I was kind of thinking about rewatching Loki because
Actually,
I hate myself.
Random thought.
What?
Jane looking at the books about the hammer.
What?
Where did that come from? Just, there was a sound and she noticed the Norse books
What do you mean? Where did that come from?
in the early in the movie.
I understand what you're referring to, but what do you mean?
I mean, exactly. I'm asking.
I don't understand what you're asking!
Why? Where? How? What? I don't know what happened there exactly. I did not...
She had the books and she looked at the books!
But a noise drew her attention.
She said later Mjolnir was calling her.
Yeah, so was Mjolnir trying to get her to read a book about Mjolnir?
Yeah. It was trying to get her attention.
Guess that's one way to do it.
Not to mention she's probably got all these Norse books around. She does.
She
All
dated
this-
Thor.
Right, she dated Thor.
And
She did all this research on, like, interstellar shit, partially because of Asgard. Why would
Mhm.
she not become interested in Norse mythology?
although I'll tell you one thing this movie convinced me, that she dated Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved that,
let's-
actually. They went into their actual relationship.
Yeah,
because
I
before
love-
this, we had only seen them together twice.
Let's not forget how little the
That's-
previous movies have actually gone into.
Yeah,
the,
I really appreciated Korg's retelling of their love story. And I also loved it as a dramatic device to open and close the movie on the same point. And also, I guess I get why some people are not quite as strong on this, but it's also the fourth entrance
Mhm.
into a series. A three-parter is a natural storytelling device if you want to set up beginning, middle, end. So a four-parter, we're starting something new. So, of course, you're going to have to wait and see some of the payoff if it comes. And I think it was a fairly well-handled single entry.
Especially when he put that bolt through Zeus. Oh boy.
Good that Zeus made it through that one.
I know.
I didn't think that was going to kill him, honestly.
Yeah. Okay, but that would be a pretty bold entrance here to dealing with Olympian mythology.
That's one way to put something into the man.
I'm sorry, are you trying
That
to
sounded
be vulgar?
really, really gay.
I mean, Zeus gets around too, you know.
I'm aware.
That's true. Man, it sure is good that in this movie, Thor fucked Zeus.
There was a 10-minute sex scene between Thor and Zeus.
Well,
That's
that's
the
the orgy.
second in the movie.
It's
And then-
the orgy.
And then Thor got pregnant.
It
and
happened
had
at
a baby girl.
It happened at the orgy. By the way, we joke, but Zeus was planning an orgy.
Of Of course he
Indeed.
was.
Well, he's the fuck father.
Yes.
Exactly.
There are many fuck fathers. There are many mythologies.
Oh, Zeus, you were actually planning an orgy.
It's not
Aw.
surprising.
I know it's not surprising, but Taika got to have him.
I bring Dionysus.
I was hoping to see more named gods, but I can see why they didn't blow that load all at once.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're saving that for the orgy.
Right. That's gonna be the next one, because Hercules is there.
Uh-huh. They don't need any other gods. They have enough. Hercules.
Make more gods. Then Zeus proudly gets to work.
That's how it works! That's how it works!
Anyway, enough about god fucking.
Speaking of god fucking, Heimdall has a son, apparently.
Oh, yeah!
Not enough about god fucking.
I guess is how we make up for Heimdall dying in fucking Infinity War.
Okay, but like when?
When he's not
Was-
on duty?
Was Heimdall's son an Asgardian, or was Heimdall's son sired with a Midgardian woman?
I think he was Asgardian because his mom was there.
Okay.
Yeah. We did see the mother.
Okay, I didn't see her, I missed her.
There were a lot
I mean, it wasn't, they didn't say this is his mother,
But he ran into her arms
Exactly.
or
Yes,
something.
he ran into the arms of a woman, and, kids don't typically do that with strangers.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, well, I'll accept that. Maybe Heimdall has a watch house by the Bifrost or something.
Maybe he dips
I
away.
mean, he can't
when-
just stand there forever.
No.
He knows.
He does. He has a house. And he has a wife, canonically, so.
He
Well,
can
there we
dip
go.
away.
God fucking pounce.
Well, and I mean, clearly the Asgardians got busy.
Well, duh.
They're gods. That's what they do.
Also, they have to repropagate the species.
Yeah, gotta love polytheistic gods that are just like, now we shall all fuck.
Yeah. I
And-
really liked what Taika did with New Asgard.
Mm.
I thought that it really showed that Valkyrie was doing a great job building it up.
Yeah.
Her little political bit at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fun seeing that the Asgardians have intermingled with the population. There
Yeah.
are kids who are half Asgardian and half...
And it's a tourist trap.
Oh, yeah.
But there's
I mean, it should be.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I still think I saw these people in a crowd that made me think of Bill, son of Bill.
You thought of Bill, son of Bill.
I love Bill, son of Bill. I've read a limited amount of Thor things, so Bill, son of Bill is
I
dear
mean,
to my heart.
Bill, son of Bill is dear to
good.
my heart as well.
Good.
He's worthy.
I mean, that's JMS, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It started
good.
by JMS. I think did he die under JMS?
I think so.
Because I know the storyline continues.
Because that was
after.
before Siege.
It was. It was definitely before Siege.
Well, I just saw, like, two people in the crowd who looked like a blonde Asgardian woman and some regular ass-looking Midgardian dude, and I was like, kill then Bill, son of Bill!
It's possible.
It's possible. Bill, son of Bill is a character from the JMS run of Thor who was a regular dude who lived in Broxton
And fell for a goddess.
and fell for an Asgardian goddess.
Goddess
and
of the
then-
wind.
And then died.
Yep. And went to Valhalla.
He did.
Yep.
I
And
love Bill, son of Bill.
he did eventually end up with her, which
did.
is a tragedy, but
I mean, it was a happy ending.
I mean, she did die,
Well, yeah, but they're in Valhalla, so it's fine.
but also she was in agony when he
There's
died.
a
so,
certain Shakespeareanness
like
to it.
like she was miserable after Bill died.
It's got a Romeo and Juliet kind of thing going on.
Yeah, kind of.
I think if anyone in comics could die of a broken heart, it was her.
Love that.
That's how important Bill, son of Bill, was.
Excellent.
So yeah, he was.
Well, he died
memorable.
in the build-up to Siege, though, so... What's that was still JMS? Right in the build-up
He was
to Siege?
introduced.
I think so. I'm not
Early.
positive, though. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
We're quoting you on that.
I'm not quoting you on that.
Too late. You've
Holding
been
you
quoted.
unaccountable.
So, yeah, we liked the movie.
Yeah.
And that's because
It was very different, but in good ways.
Okay, one last thing. I complained before about the music. I have a couple things.
Okay.
So I've complained before about how Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin was used in Thor
Mhm.
Ragnarok. I think they should have differed how they used it, used an instrumental version in one and That is something I've expressed before.
It was overused.
They use it as a leitmotif, so on one point I'm kind of disappointed that we didn't hear riffs of Immigrant Song before, because if we're using this as a Thor leitmotif, I think we should come back to it. But on the other hand, I have no complaint over using Sweet Child of Mine fucking multiple times, especially because it ends up being kind of foreshadowing, but also I really just in general love, because it wasn't just fucking Guns N' Roses. There were other bands in there, and I love the just kind of touching into that 80s hair metal goofball shit that absolutely invoked, like, Norse gods and shit. Like, it's a really nice nod to all that shit that's built around that.
I think that's kind of the era Taika is trying to invoke, just by bringing that.
Well, yeah, and also...
all
of the promotional material looks like fucking Technicolor 80s shit.
And we also brought back the old Walt Simonson Thor suit, right?
Yes. His old armor from Walt Simonson.
Taika wants us to think 80s, not 90s.
Yeah. Also, Tooth Gnasher and Tooth Grinder were there.
The goats! The screaming goats!
They were beautiful. I loved them so much.
They were so loud.
You know, traveling around with Thor's goats down the Bifrost makes me think of, what was it? The Punisher comic that came out of fucking War of the Realms, where he's just running around.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the War of the Realms spin-off comics were actually kind of fun.
Yeah. For once.
That's off topic, though, anyway. So, I don't think we have anything more specific to talk about.
And it's not as long as it looks, because we did tool
fuck around for 20 minutes.
Yep. We're gonna be, next week we'll be back and we'll talk about the wrap-up of Ms. Marvel.
Plenty of thoughts there.
Yep. We're also going to be back with the X-Men. We're gonna meet a new friend.
Ooh.
So that should be exciting. Other than that, just our usual housekeeping. Shoot us your opinions on Thor Love and Thunder. Give me your hate mail for being just kind of a bitch about everyone who had anything to say about this movie. I want to hear it. I'll read your hate mail on air. I have no problem with that. You could also blow us up over on Twitter and Tumblr and Facebook. And
why would you tell people to blow us up?
Because any press is good press.
Oh no. Oh no.
What if we get blown up? We won't be making the show anymore.
Blow us up on social media exclusively.
Okay. Blow up our social media.
Yes.
That's what you meant.
That's what I meant. Also, rate and review us on whatever podcatcher you use. We'd really appreciate that, including Spotify. If you use something else, we'll read your review on air if we know that we have it. But Spotify, just rate us and we would really love you forever. If you want other ways to be loved forever, you want to donate monetarily to the show, there are a couple ways you can do that. You can hit us up over on Patreon. We've got now, if you start at the bottom tier, you get access to the show a day early. If you start from that, we have now a special Patreon bonus episode and outtakes. Lots and lots of outtakes.
At the $5 tier.
Yep. So... you can also donate to us, shoot us a couple bucks over on Coffee, no pressure. If all you can do is listen, we still appreciate that and we're glad you're listening. But you can also, if you want to see some of the clips of the comics that we're talking about, if you want to see Odin's stupid hand talking to Don, hit us up over on YouTube. We have a YouTube version of the podcast where we put different clips of the comics we're talking about.
I want hand puppet Odin now.
If you want to see that, hit us up over on YouTube, like, subscribe, and hit the bell button, and you'll see a version with all the clips of the stuff we're talking about. If you want to talk to us over on Discord, again, you can yell at me about my Thor opinions, or you can give your own Thor opinions without yelling, which is frankly what I would prefer. But you can head up. We put a link to the Discord in our show description every week. Other than that, we'll be back with the X-Men next week, and we look forward to talking to you then. Bye!
Bye!